The new anchor of the reality ship. Non fiction shows were coming up in a big way in the meantime, and I think I was one of the first MTV VJ to do both MTV and host non fiction reality shows on general entertainment channels. There was a time when I was offered India's Got Talent and the Indian Premier League to host at the same time. I really wanted to do India's Got Talent, but they said that they wouldn't give me money as MTV and Colors were sister concerns and both come under the Viacom 18 umbrella. For once, I was sure that I was not going to be taken for granted. Talks were on with IPL, who readily agreed to pay me much more than what MTV had pitched for me. I hosted the IPL and then, on the basis of that, pitched for India's Got Talent and finally got separated remuneration for it. I am very bad with finances and numbers, but not at the cost of being taken for a ride. It pays to be aware of what the norms are in the business one is in. IPL was a learning experience, no doubt, but not the most enjoyable one. It was live and there was no scope for even a small error. There was way too much pressure than what I had bargained for. And India's Got Talent was just the diametric opposite. I had the time of my life there, besides experiencing one of the biggest learning lessons of my life. It all started with the auditions. I did what I could and I guess it was very well received. I used to write my own script, entertain everyone with my one liners, and generally did my own improvisations without depending too much on the teleprompter. By the end of the audition rounds, I realized that I was the only constant while the other anchors were being rotated and paired alongside me. I was still not 100% certain that I had made it. RJs, VJs, and other television hosts were tried with me as my co hosts. Hiten Tejwani, Nikhil Chinnappa, Cyrus Sahukar, and a host of others joined in. Finally, Nikhil and I were confirmed. I felt proud to be working for Siddharth Basu's company. India's Got Talent started, and I had a great time traveling the length and breadth of the country with Nikhil. Amongst the many other things that I have to credit him with, there is one life altering moment that happened for which I am extremely grateful to him: flying business class. Nikhil always traveled business during MTV, so obviously it was his prerequisite at IGT too, and because they couldn't make him travel economy, I got to travel business for the first time. It was a big achievement for me. Nikhil is this extremely intelligent person. He is full of knowledge, worldly wisdom, and experience. I knew I could learn a lot from him. He taught me the smallest of things like the art of tipping, gentleman's etiquette, and appreciating different cultures, to life lessons in general. On IGT, I perhaps had a slight edge over him because of my fluency in Hindi, but in life, I still have a lot to learn from him, which is why every year Teachers' Day begins with me wishing him. That season of IGT with Kiran Kher, Shekhar Kapoor, and Sonali Bendre was the best one for me. We all shared great camaraderie. It was a balancing act between Nikhil and me. He predominantly gave links in English while my Hindi made me connect with the masses. In fact, I think Kiran Kher enjoyed my inherent Punjabi sense of humor the most. Life looked good for me again as there was a beautiful harmony that existed between home and the world outside. Soon, I got a chance to host a show solo for the first time, Music Ka Maha Mukabla. I would like to take this platform to admit that it was a terrible experience for me. I was always nervous on the set because things were perpetually mismanaged and disorganized. That's also when I came to know that a lot of things are predetermined in reality shows. The judges are at the beck and call of the channel. Somebody deserves to win, but someone else does. For the greed of TRPs, channels introduce their own twists and turns. Sometimes, though not always, the judge's decision is diluted because of the channel's say so. The channel always has the last word. The judges on the show were Shan, Mika, Mohit Chauhan, Shankar Mahadevan, and Himesh Reshamia. The most revered amongst them was Shankar, and the most controversial were Himesh and Mika. They were in fact instructed by the channel to speak their mind without thinking twice. Basically, they were asked to blurt out anything that would help the show grab eyeballs and subsequently TRPs. Later, I was offered the third season of IGT after having delivered two successful seasons at the same time. However, also I got an offer from Just Dance. I had to pick one and was in two minds. The dilemma was to either ride high on the successful franchisee of IGT, something that was well within my comfort zone, or be a part of much bigger show Just Dance, which was being projected as Ritik's show. I wanted to do IGT, but Just Dance was a bigger opportunity. I did realize there was a possibility of getting completely ignored on the show because of Ritik's presence and his image of being the god of dance that was being prompted as the USP of the show. I knew very well that if I was to do the show, I had to carve out my own identity by being bloody good at my job. The few inhibitions that remained in me were put to rest when I went to host Star Parivar Awards in Macau. That's where I had a meeting with Star TV Oncos and I laid down two conditions. First, that I be a solo host, and second, that I be paid an obnoxious amount yet unheard of. I thought they wouldn't agree and I'd soon be back on IGT. As I have mentioned earlier, back then, nobody earned that much as non-celeb host on television. Fortunately or unfortunately, both my conditions were agreed to, and with that, I became the anchor of the show Just Dance. This was a turning point for me. For the first time, I felt like a celeb myself when I traveled to different cities for the auditions with Farah Khan and Vaibhavi Merchant, who were there as judges. My entry was marked with cheers and whistles. People started recognizing me, and I used to feed off their energies. I was becoming more confident, more in control of my craft by the minute. The auditions happened in Delhi, Calcutta, Mumbai, and New York. This was the first time an Indian reality show was going international and was being made on such a huge budget. New York was so much fun. I was shooting at the Times Square and Statue of Liberty, exotic locations I had only heard of before. Auditions happening at Manhattan had the Indian diaspora from across North America in attendance. There was a flood of Gujaratis, Punjabis, and Pakistanis as well. What surprised me the most was that the crowd knew my name. Here, I realized that my experience at MTV had helped me prepare fun content for anchoring, which set me apart from the other Hello Friends anchors. The auditions became a bonding ground for the judges and me. We paired together and became good friends later on. There were initial hiccups, but post the first 5 episodes, I was on the right track and had begun enjoying my work. Code hashtag 11. Sometimes you have to make a choice that you may not be comfortable with initially. You have to make a conscious effort to push yourself to avoid become stagnant. I could have easily chosen India's Got Talent season 3 as it was completely in my comfort zone. It was home to me, but it was time to move ahead. At Just Dance, another point worth mentioning is that there were 3 judges, thousands of participants, but only one anchor. I knew I had to make the most of it. This was also the time when the exaggerated nature of reality TV shows first hit me. Every time some contestant won the round, they were applauded and encouraged as if they would be the next big thing in Bollywood. For instance, Ankan, a contestant who won the show, and another participant, Karan Khanna, who came third, were given such praise and shown many false dreams that they must have thought they have made already it big. I had learned this lesson from my stint at Pop Stars, and thankfully, post MTV Roadies, I wasn't disillusioned. But these kids were being told time and again that they were future superstars. I knew that after a year no one would remember who Ankan or Karan Khanna were, but they were given false hopes and were promised a fantasy world in which fans mobbed them to take their autographs and photographs. This was perhaps to get the best or worst out of them, probably for the sake of the TRPs. I really don't know the reason, but I could see a young me in them and yet couldn't tell them what I felt or knew. Maybe this platform will help me convey this to the thousands of aspirants of reality shows. Remember, there are seasons after seasons of a particular show. 2 to 3 reality shows run on every channel at any given point of time. Meanwhile, there are as many shows running on other channels too. Then again, there are at least 8 to 10 entertainment channels. This is not to dissuade anyone from trying to their luck, of course, but if you think you are the only one, then this is just a gentle reminder. There are many who have been there and many who will be, and still many who will simultaneously share your moment of glory on some other channel. Public attention is fickle. Today they like you because you are on screen, perhaps doing what they would like to see you do. Tomorrow is going to be another season, another set of a new contestants, another disillusioned winner. You need to figure out what you are. You just can't be a reality show winner all your life. Forget the winners. Even the participants begin to think that they have already achieved big success, and many of them immediately shift ways to Mumbai and get lost in the crowd. They don't realize that they were just characters who suited the flavor of the season at that particular time. Tell me honestly, after season 2 of Roadies, do you think I could have been selected for any other season? Obviously not. I just happened to suit a prerequisite that the creators of the show had in mind during that season, and that's that. In the forthcoming seasons, the format changed and so did the requirements. That's when the reality of the situation dawned on me. I knew that only being a Roadies winner would not make me an actor. After reading so far, you as the reader already know the kind of struggle that lay ahead. I am reiterating this fact as the risk of sounding preachy, but being a reality show winner will not help you become an actor. Looking at a few of the Just Dance contenders, Rajat Dev, who came fourth, is still doing what he was doing before getting selected for the show. Ankan is still assisting someone. Karan Khanna is not doing anything in this field at all. Jeet Sirji opened a dance institute in Delhi, though I don't know how it is faring today. Forget about becoming stars. Most of them are just doing what they were doing before they came on the show. In fact, the TV channel benefits more than any of these participants do individually. How somebody chooses to utilize their moment of glory also depends on their own drive. Either this success on a reality show could mean everything for the person, or they could treat it like a means to an end. Personally, I think I benefited the most from Just Dance with this show. I got really popular and not only bagged an award for the best anchor but also earned a newfound respect in the film fraternity, which actually meant the most to me. This was a life-altering show for me, as this is where Shujit Sirkar noticed me and approached me for the lead role in my acting debut, Vicky Donner. Code #12. It may be an overused and abused maxim, but it becomes life-altering if paid heed to. Wisdom lies in learning from others' experiences. I have known it to be true and am therefore sharing the same with you. Become more than just a reality show contestant or winner. It's only then that you are truly noticed.